What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another week of the Reel Down. Took a week off, but we're back at it this week. Just me though. Jimmy's got bit work stuff or something. He's always got an excuse. It'd be just me this week. But I got the Hobie BOS Mississippi River lacrosse event runner up and winner from that event. So looking forward to talking with these guys here in a minute. Let's see. First up, let's talk with the runner-up, Mr. Eric Siddiqi. How you doing today?
Good. How you doing?
Good. You make it back from lacrosse, all right? Or
Yeah,
you
made
still
it
on the
back all
road?
right. No, I made it
Awesome.
back. I'm home. Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
at
for
least a
any of
little
our
bit.
listeners that aren't familiar with you, give us a little introduction to yourself and how you got into kayak fishing and how long you've
All
been
right.
doing all the tournament scene for.
All right. Well, my name's Eric Siddiqi. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. I've been kayak fishing for I don't know 10 years or more.
That's a good
Been
bit. That's
yeah. I
one of the
started
OGs.
yeah. I started with kayak bass fishing, KBF fishing online events, and then
Very
I found
nice.
out there was live events and just went. I remember going to my first event was down in, at Toledo Bend and went down there and
Huh.
fished and did well and qualified for the first KBF championship. So that's kind of how I got started.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's been a long ways coming from there to now.
Right. Yeah.
And you got a lot of big wins under your belt since then.
Yeah. Yeah. I do. I got the trophy from this event behind me, but
Yeah.
I also grabbed a few more Hobie trophies
Oh
from over
yeah.
the years.
Just shut them off a little bit.
Yeah. Why not?
Well, that's awesome, man. Well, the winner from the event, Mr. Zach Gibbons. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Uh, Tell me a little bit about yourself. Like, how did you get into kayak fishing, and how did you get into the tournament scene? I guess of kayak fishing.
Back in like 2003, I I just graduated high school. I had a little bit of graduation money. Was going to Shields to buy a canoe and came out with a kayak and I fished with that thing everywhere. And then
Wow, that's been
2004,
20 years in a kayak? No.
yeah, and then
Wow, you got a lot
2014,
of
yeah,
a lot of experience.
yeah. I guess I had no one. I've never for that first like 10 years, no one was up here fishing out of kayaks. Like never
Hmm,
saw it, and people would just be asking you 100 questions at the ramp, and like I had a little paddle holder and a little piranha, like a hummingbird piranha shoot through hole
yeah.
deal, and like rod holders, like had to drill holes in the kayak and everything. It was just kind of come a long way since then.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
yeah,
I was gonna say, like, how does the kayak you're fishing now versus the one from 2003?
yeah, it's
It's
not
like
comparable.
yeah.
But I fished my first tournament in 2014 and I won it, and then I've just been hooked since. And I was on
Wow.
the upper Mississippi up here, the
Huh.
smallmouth.
So you got a lot of experience up there, I guess,
Oh, yeah.
on the well, I mean, that's almost a decade of tournament fishing there. So both of you guys are well experienced anglers here, tournament anglers. Uh, so going into this event, did you guys have any time to like pre-fish or anything, or um, did you just show up and fish it? Or uh, I'll let you start, Zach. I guess since you were local there, how did you
Um,
approach the?
well, I fished the Bassmaster like a little over a month ago, and I only had Friday to pre-fish, and I got there a little late, like 10 a.m.
Hmm,
and I just ran around. Well, I checked out the spots I did good during the Bassmaster event, and
yeah,
my main spot wasn't any good, so I just like ran all over the place to like all the higher percentage areas. One
were
the
you
areas I
fishing
know,
like history, or were you fishing kind of trying new stuff?
uh, a little bit of history, yeah, and I just
Yeah.
kind of know how that river, like the current flows through it, that area at least. So I just checked out all like where I knew there was kind of incoming water, or there should be, and just to see if it was clean and see if there's any like life pretty much there.
Hmm, I got you. What about
But
you, Eric? How did you approach this going into the event? Did you have
Well,
time to pre-fish or anything? Or
Yeah, I went with Christine and a few other people up to upstate Wisconsin, and we did some fun fishing. And then I ended up making it there. I think it was Monday night, and then I fished for about 3 hours on Tuesday. Went and checked a spot that I fished a couple years ago, and came in fifth or something in one tournament, and saw fish, torpedoed over them, and saw them in the area, and then never got back on the water till Saturday. I just kind of enjoyed the nightlife and did a little work and and took it easy all week and decided not to sore lip any. I didn't think anybody would find them, so I figured, what's the point in catching any during the week? Also, I love spotted cow, so I'm not very good.
Yeah, that's some good stuff. That's worth making the trip up there for. It's just to go get some spot. There you go.
There you go. You can see my basement, Zach.
Yeah. Get this guy.
I had to pick up one. I only picked up one case. I didn't fill the whole truck. Only an hour for me to get some, so I ain't bad.
I've got like 9 cases down there.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, sounds like you had a good time. So going into this tournament, I guess, how did you guys approach it as far as like what kind of areas were you looking for, or what kind of vegetation were you looking for, or what was your deciding factor on that?
You want to go ahead?
For me, I'm just looking for a little bit of current, some cleaner water, a little bit cleaner water than surrounding areas at least, and just something for the fish to get into, like whether it's eelgrass or pads.
I think when we had the Bassmaster winner on, Tyler Cole, it was, I want to say, a couple weeks ago or a month ago, whenever that event was. He was looking at mostly pads and stuff in the area he was in, and fishing mainly pad fields and I guess small holes in the pads and all that. Were you guys finding anything similar to that, or had it changed in that time frame since then?
I definitely was. I had one or two spots. I never actually made it to the other spot because I just didn't have time. But I had one spot where I did most of my damage. I had a little bit of current running through some pads, and they were like in there where the current was hitting the pads.
Yeah, that's interesting.
The area I fished, I knew it'd have current. It always does. So, there's always fish around. It's more just kind of like finding where they are in the area and kind of dialing them in. They ended up being about 2.5 foot like depth and scattered patches of eelgrass is where they were just holding for some reason. I was fishing about a 150-yard stretch, and I think every fish except for one in my limit came from about a 25, 30-yard stretch. So
wow.
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting. Just going back and forth over it.
Yeah. Just letting it rest and coming back. That was it.
That's the ticket. I mean, if you got a spot with good quality fish in it, just keep milking it until it doesn't.
I had a feeling because the way that wind blew the first day, they're really wind dependent in that area, and it was pretty dead in my area all morning until the last couple of hours, and that's when I was really able to start, upgrading some of those smaller fish that I
Gotcha.
And those pike didn't care if it was windy or not. I caught a lot of pike the second day. So
yeah, those things they don't leave you alone. Anything you throw at them,
I retied a lot on day 2.
Oh, I bet. So what were the weather conditions and everything like going into the event? Like, what kind of weather patterns did you have? Was it pretty stable, or?
It was really windy.
Windy
all week. That's one of the reasons why I decided on the area that I was fishing was going to be a good one. Those PA-14s are good boats, but in the wind, they could be a miserable
sail.
Day.
Just
windy,
about
so,
they sit up so high that they catch the wind pretty good. And they just kind of like start drifting around everywhere.
Yeah, the 360 helps, but it's that's kind of
that's part of the.
I'll do anything to get out of that. I'll do anything to get out of that heavy wind. I don't like fishing in that stuff. I'll try to find an area out of it if I can.
What were you gonna say, Zach?
Oh, I was gonna say that's part of why I brought the Outback. Just it doesn't catch that wind as bad, and I mean
Mm.
it does, but it's easier to like kind of
Yeah, that's pretty
maneuver
low
out of it.
profile
Yeah.
boat. Um, well, that's awesome. So, how did you guys going into day one? Like, what was your strategy? I guess going into day one, what did you have a solid game plan figured out, or are you just gonna kind of wing
I
it
just
and
decided
see?
to, yeah, I knew there was fish in the area, so I was just gonna basically kind of pre-fish and just kind of dial them in throughout the day. That
Mhm.
was kind of my plan. I mean, it seems like every time I come to lacrosse, they always eat the same baits, So you
Yeah.
just kind of cycle through those, and you're usually gonna catch them if you're in the right area. So
So, what kind of? I mean, you don't have to get too specific, but what kind
jackhammer
of baits?
work. I've always been able to catch them on a jackhammer.
Mhm.
I like a fluke.
Yeah.
Soft plastics are good. A frog, is always good, especially for if you're trying to get a kicker or something like that. Frog's
Oh
good,
yeah.
stuff like
That's
that.
that's been the biggest draw for me to want to try to get up there. It's just the frog fishing that I've seen. It looks pretty insane.
Yeah, I remember the first tournament we had there was a KBF, and Hoover swore you could catch a fish throwing a frog over your head. So it was it wasn't
I'd
quite
like
like
to
that
see
the
that.
first time because I
Yeah.
think the pike were spawning, so you could definitely catch a pike throwing a frog over your head behind you, but I don't know about bass.
Yeah. That'd be wild. Speaking of that, one time I was on Chick, and I passed Russ Snyder's in the middle of a bay, and he was literally doing like donuts on with his torpedo running in his wilderness, and was like casting over the back of his shoulder at waypoints on his graph, and I was like,
Yeah,
"What are you doing over there?"
that's
So,
funny.
I don't. That
Well,
just reminded me of that.
yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen anybody try to do that, but
Well, something that was pretty funny. You could always count on Cody Milton for a good laugh because you never know what he's going to do. But
yeah.
he decided to. The wind was pretty bad. He decided to wait around some of those islands out there in Alaska, and he was like, "This is way easier. I don't know why we haven't been doing this the whole time." And he got back in his kayak, and he had 8 leeches on his
Oh
legs. I
God.
was like, 8? He was like, "Yeah, it was a lot of leeches." I was like, "That's a lot of leeches."
Yeah, you're gonna learn your lesson on that one, I guess.
Yes.
Wear some waders next time or something. I don't know.
Mhm.
Wow. Uh, all right. So day one starts. How did you guys feel like tournament day? Like, what was the mood going into day one?
I I I don't know. I was a little nervous that my
Yeah.
fish weren't like really there, but I started on a sand drop and I caught like an 18, like about 15 minutes or something, or the first half hour at least. And I
Yeah.
felt pretty good.
Yeah. That's pretty solid fish in that for that region at least.
Yeah. And then I caught some frogfish right after that pretty quick. That relaxed me a little bit. But
How long
Yeah.
did it
So
take you to fill your limit that day?
uh, 15 minutes or something, maybe.
Yeah.
It's lacrosse. It's like five to
I wouldn't be
15
stressing too
minutes if
bad
you're in a
after
good spot.
day
that.
two
I
did
mean, they
not
might
go
not be
any
big
better
ones.
for me.
Yeah.
No, day one was awesome. I caught them all day, especially once I figured out they were on that jackhammer.
Mhm.
I didn't really have to mess around too much. But day two did not go that way. My first fish when I got like to my area, thought I had a good one, and it was a drum. So that wasn't a great start.
Oh, that's frustrating. It's like
Yeah,
Tennessee River fishing.
yeah. So that wasn't great. And then just kind of was grinding it out after that with the little ones. I ended up with like a high 70s limit and kind of was around there all day, just slowly just upgrading a little bit till that wind finally came back there the last hour or two.
Hmm,
When I got it coming up gusting, I upgraded with a good fish like every time.
interesting.
So
It's
yeah,
kind of like
day
it
two
sounds like it's kind of like fishing in Florida, like the grass flats and stuff down
yeah,
there,
it's
like
gonna be
rain, weather or wind dependent
Mhm.
for the bite to pick up.
Yeah.
So day one, you had like a almost 3.5 inch lead going
something like that.
after day one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty stout lead
I know.
for this field.
I just know
This
how lacrosse is, so like I knew it could be 70 inches on day 2, so I wasn't
yeah.
feeling super confident I was going to go that way again. So, but
You had that 22.25 inch kicker in your limit.
yeah,
That's a
I didn't
monster
think I was
fish.
going to catch another one of those either.
Yeah, that's
I've
a rare fish for that
never even
region.
heard of a fish like that out there. So,
I don't think anybody else had anything over 20.
but I was pretty confident I had big bass sewn up. That was all I knew for sure after day 1.
Yeah, yeah,
For
no
sure.
doubt. So that's got to be a good feeling at least that what your area is producing. You got quality fish there. Um, Zach, same for you. I mean, you're 3.5 inches behind. Did you think that you could possibly catch Eric on day 2,
I
or
thought I had to get 90. Like that was my goal, was to get 90.
yeah,
And even if I got 90, I might not even, have a chance still. I mean, it's been fishing pretty good, so I wasn't wouldn't be too surprised if someone more than one person hit 90.
yeah? I think so. Eric, I guess, is the only person to hit 90 for the whole event.
You know,
Um, but after that point, you got a ton of people. I mean, you had on day 1 at least, you had 3 people tied at 86.75 inches behind you, and then going down the field, it's just like half inch, quarter inch increments all the way down to like 20th place had 80 inches still, or 23rd place. Um,
Lacrosse is always tight. I
yeah,
mean,
it's
you're
a
always
tight
one foot
field.
away from being right there. So,
It looks like tons of 17 to 16 inch fish all across the board. It's just
mhm.
if you could find those, it looks like if you could find those 17s and 18s, that's really what sets you
Yeah,
apart
yep,
from the rest of the field there. Or those 22.25s. Yeah, those are nice.
yeah. Those are nice. You gotta find those.
Yeah. Um. So Eric, you had the lead going into day 2. How did you approach going into day 2? Were you going to just go back and keep doing the same thing, or
Yeah, that's
try
what I
to
was
mix it
hoping to
up a
do.
little bit?
That's what I was hoping to do. They were calling for some more wind than we got, but it was switching. Like it was coming out of the completely opposite direction. I think it was out of the south the first day, and it was supposed to come out of I think northeast the second day. So a lot of times when that happens, it ends up being dead in the morning or half the day. It seems
Yeah.
like. So I was kind of ready for
Just
that.
like while it's switching, it's like
Yeah,
no wind at all.
yeah,
Um,
that's kind of what happened. I was pedaling out, to the spot, and it was just dead calm. I was like, ugh, I don't like this too much, but
yeah.
we'll see. So, I mean, I did move around a little bit throughout the day, seeing if I could find some fish somewhere else. Didn't want to get too far away from there because I knew if that wind picked up, I wanted to be there, and
Yeah.
that's kind of what happened. And I, like I said, upgrade every time I got some good wind, and I got some like right there at the end of the day too, and put myself in the right spot, and I was able to catch a 16.75 to upgrade 14 something maybe there at the end
Yeah.
that moved me up into second place. So I knew I didn't have Zach, but I wasn't going to tell him that. So I'd let him find out.
Let him stress it a little bit.
Yeah,
I was
they
stressed.
they always do it to me. I had to wait a day at the Bassmaster Championship to find out. So
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
jeez.
yeah,
I
that was
remember
rough.
Yeah.
you were kind of freaking out a little bit
Yeah,
when that you got
that
that.
was
Uh, that was cool to
that's
see you win that.
yeah,
Um,
that was cool.
but so day 2, you didn't have the same luck you did day 1. I guess those big fish didn't really show up for you. You had a lot of those 17s and
Yeah,
16s. It looked like.
right. Yeah.
Um, and so were all those still on the same baits, like chatterbaits?
Yeah. Caught, I think one of them came on a fluke. I think it was like a 16 and a half, maybe came on a fluke the second day. Um,
Gotcha.
yeah. But 'cause I was thinking, with the wind dying off and everything, I might be able to catch them on a Cinco and a fluke and stuff like that. instead.
like slow down and just kind of start dragging stuff through there, or just moving
But it didn't go that
slower.
way. They were just completely shut off. Like when I was coming over, I'd see bass and I'd see bait, and they just weren't moving at all. And then it was like as soon as that wind picked up, they started busting and everything, and it would just get them going. So it just there had to be some wind there, but
Just the luck of the draw for that day, I guess.
Yeah. But
So
I don't think I would have made any different decisions. I did what I could, fish clean and everything, and
yeah,
it was fun. And
that just didn't.
that one fish was like, that's all I needed. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's kind of a freak fish for that region.
Yeah. There really was another 20 with it. It had to be 20. It looked like I was up there trying to take the bait out of that one's mouth when I was reeling it in. So it was pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, save the pins for that place.
Yeah,
that spot. Go back for that one.
Yeah.
What kind of chatterbait setup are you running? Just out of curiosity, like
I was throwing a jackhammer. It was a height delight, and I like to throw a little dipper on my jackhammers. That's pretty much all I use. So
makes sense.
A lot of people like the Zaco and stuff. I always just like the little dipper. So
I like experimenting with different stuff and just seeing what kind of different actions you can get.
Right.
If
it ain't broke,
are you using like straight fluoro or like braid to fluoro guy, or
I use like 20-pound fluoro always.
Gotcha. That's awesome. What kind of rod and stuff are you using for that?
I use it's like a 7-foot, medium heavy, moderate fast St. Croix Legend.
Okay.
I've just used it forever, and I hardly ever lose any fish on it. The action's right and everything, so
you got confidence in it.
Stick with it. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
because St. Croix just they're a sponsor of mine, and they just sent me a bunch of new rods, and I got one. I wanted to try it for chatterbaits, but I didn't use it this week because I have too much confidence in that rod. I know it's right.
Yeah.
I didn't want
to try a new one in the middle of a tournament. Yeah.
It's like Ghost in the Darkness when Val Kilmer goes in with a rifle he hasn't used.
Yeah.
And dude goes, "You went into battle with an unproven rifle," when it misfires. That's what I was thinking about. I was like, I'm not doing that.
I'm not doing that. Not going to follow in his footsteps on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you get any of those new? Is it the Mojo Bass one that they redid that have the?
I got some of the glass for crankbaits and stuff. I got a bunch of the Legend X's is my favorite series. So
yeah,
a bunch of those and a bunch of the new tournament series rods are really nice. So I got a bunch of those.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and a few of the extremes also.
Yeah, some of those are $high rods.
Yeah. I really like the spinning rods and the extremes, and I don't like the heavier ones. I think the butt gets a little too heavy. That's why I go to the Legend for the bigger, heavier stuff. It's kind of just what I prefer.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got their preferences
and
stuff, but yeah, that's awesome. So Zach, day 2 rolls around, and you're 3.5 inches behind Eric. What was your mindset going into that? I mean, you said you had to get 90 inches, but how did the day play out for you?
I just knew I had to fish clean. I did lose like a 17.5 the day before, so I thought maybe that was gonna be the deciding factor. I was gonna lose, or I was gonna lose by like an inch or less.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got to my sand drop in the morning, and fish were schooling up on top of it. I like looked at my phone to see what time it was, see how much time I had. I had like 3 minutes, but when I was looking at my phone, my whole hand was like shaking, like I was just full of adrenaline, like just ready to go.
I mean,
nervous.
That's the feeling you want to have before an event. Like when you start losing that feeling, that's probably when you got to stop fishing for a minute.
Yeah,
that's what you're chasing there. That adrenaline rush.
Right.
And then, yeah, I caught my limit like 10 minutes. I even caught a couple smallies. I haven't caught any smallies on that spot all year.
Yeah,
And
I was gonna check that. I don't know if that I saw a ton of smallmouth in the like in the top 10 at least. I don't
yeah,
know if I saw a ton of people with
I
smallmouth.
ended up I called mine out.
Yeah.
It's hard to rely on smallmouth. They
Yeah.
move too much there. Like if I did in one tournament and they were there and my rudder fell off on the way, so I was spinning around in circles hooking 18, 19-inch smallmouth and couldn't get them in and spinning around the current. So of course I was like, of course they're here and I can't catch them. So,
Oh
but
man.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
it's
gotta be
hard to rely on
frustrating.
smallmouth there. Like
Huh.
if you got an area where you have largemouth and smallmouth close together,
Yeah.
then you're better off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Smallies are a bonus for me. I don't
Right.
target, or I try not to target them. They're there. Catch them.
I think that's it seems like that's almost true for most places with largemouth and smallmouth is that the largemouth are more consistent and
Yeah.
You
uh
won't catch me going for largemouth on St. Clair.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like some places though, like the
Yeah.
smallmouth are that's all you want to be chasing.
Mm.
But so you had a couple smallmouth that you're trying to cull out. On describe this
Yeah.
sandbar that you're talking about. How does that set up?
Well, this one was pretty big. It's pretty shallow up on top, and then
Okay.
it basically just drops, and there's a good amount of current coming through here or coming through there, and they're just on that lip where it drops, or most of the time they're up on that lip. That morning they were all over the place, but yeah, they're just waiting for food to come by and then just grab it.
What kind of I don't know if I asked this yet, but what kind of forage have you guys were you guys looking for in those areas? Like what are they feeding on?
I'm not I'm not 100% sure what they're feeding on in the eelgrass. I can't really tell. I mean, I've seen some like little like pin minnow looking things, like maybe shiners or something, but
I
Oh,
saw
I'm
it
like
sure there's
too.
bluegill and perch
I
and
saw a
yeah.
lot of bluegill, and I had some big perch around. And the other area that I had that I'd never actually caught anything that I kept out of was just packed full of shad, and it was crazy how much shad was there. But I couldn't get any big bites, no big bass there. I don't know.
That's weird.
Yeah, maybe they're
Think
just.
they'd be around it.
I did catch a walleye, caught a channel cat there, a bunch of small bass. Yeah, but
Hmm.
nothing that kept there. So
So, what kind of like bait patterns were you guys using mostly? Like shad pattern stuff, or like you said, you saw a lot of bluegills, so we're using
yeah,
more so
like that
bluegill
height
pattern.
is what I was using. I also used the Brett's bluegill. That's another one I
Yeah,
used.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Those are good colors.
yeah.
I was
Um, I also used a white little dipper trailer on at a certain point. That's actually what I got that 22 on. I was actually ran out of my other trailer, so I grabbed one of those. So I don't know
That's
if
the way
it
it always
mattered.
happens.
They were like
Yeah,
as long as they were feeding, and I don't know.
yeah. You
I was
probably
just
went to the tackle shop and got all the white ones after that.
They didn't have a lot there. I went and looked. I actually called Matt Ball and went and picked up a couple jackhammers from him.
Yeah.
I figured he'd have some.
Oh man, what were you gonna say there, Zach? Sorry to
oh, I was
cut you
just
off.
gonna tell you, I was using a white popper, and then I was using a white frog and natural red, I think is what it's called from by
Okay,
Spro. They like that down there
so mostly shad pattern or a white and shad colored. Um,
pretty much.
makes sense. Makes sense. Um, so
If you go
going
on my
towards the
if you go
oh,
on
go
my
ahead.
Instagram and look up, it's like an old post, but it's like a match the hatch one. I had a smallmouth cough up like 4 inch a 4 inch crayfish, and it was like just green pumpkin with orange claws, and I was like, I
Yeah,
matched like dead on. I was like, I don't know why I'm catching them. I think I was using a bobblehead with a rage craw or something that matched it just right,
that,
something like that.
like
But it was,
orange tips on it and all
Mhm.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's wild. I think earlier this year I was at an event on Chick, and I found a ton of crayfish on the bank and just started taking pictures of them. And went home and found all my jigs that had the same color patterns. I think they were like a bluish greenish hue with a like brown claws. Uh, Went out there the next day and just smashed them on that color.
Yeah,
So I
I
mean,
love,
it's there's definitely truth to matching the hatch.
yeah, I love matching a jig to a crayfish color. You know,
Yeah, it
that's
seems like that's that one of the easiest ways to
hmm
fool them is
right,
matching a crayfish that's in local to that region.
mhm, right.
Uh,
They're
So
always gonna.
Zach, towards the end of day two, um, what were you thinking like in the last couple hours of the day? Did you think you might have it, or were you stressing and trying to coal still, or what was going on?
I think I had like a 18, like a 17 and 3/4, and like 3/16s. But I was having a hard time uploading because I don't have very good service in that area. I figured if I did upload, I'd be in the lead, but like barely. And like I don't know, about noon, I think I caught my last kicker, like my 17 3/4 or 18 or whatever.
Yeah,
And I was finally able to sit there and upload. And I had a bunch of 16s that I had to go through on my gallery. But when I uploaded, I was in the lead. So,
yeah, that's you had tied, I guess, Levi on day two with 86 and 3/4. There's a lot of 86 and 3/4 going on this event. I think
you know,
there was like 7 people or 5 or 6 people that had 86 and 3/4 um, between
Yeah,
day one and day two.
me and Christine and Cody and a bunch of us, we had a bet going on what it would take to cash a check, what big bass would be, and what it would take to win. And I hit what it would take to win on the dot. I said 87 a day, which is 174.
Yeah,
I said I can't remember what I said, what it would take to cash a check, but apparently I hit that on the dot. And then I hit the big bass on the dot. I said 1975 if I hadn't caught that 22. So
you ruined your
I
own
felt like, yeah,
bet.
but it's good to have a pretty good idea of what it takes to win. You know,
Yeah,
like when I'm fishing an area I know well. Like I remember being on St. Clair one time fishing a tournament that I won, um, and I think I had 88 or something, and I looked up and saw like a bunch of people in front of me, and I was like, I got to move. Like this, I'm not going to be able to upgrade and get to what I need to get to have a chance to win this tournament if I don't. So, and I ended up
yeah,
moving, ended up with in first like 96 and a half after day one, and ended up winning it. But I mean, knowing what it takes to win, like definitely helps.
I
And
think that's a. I mean, that's a lot of. I guess some people we don't really talk about a whole lot is like watching the leaderboard and knowing what it's going to take to get to the top spot and like where you're gauging using that to gauge where you're at halfway through a
Mhm.
day or something,
Right.
whether or not you need to make a change and make something happen.
Right. I mean, same thing like Table Rock. Cody Milton was telling me that it was going to take 87 to win. I ended up with 88 inches of smallmouth, I think, within the first like hour and a half. And I called him up, was like, well, did I win? He was like, yeah, you won. I was like, all right.
Just go ahead and write the check out to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Uh, so both of you guys are right there to like right there in it at the end here. Like going to the check-in, do you guys Eric, you said something about you thought Zach still had it, but you wanted to make him stress a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah. I saw him at 174, and when I got that last one, I was like, man, that's short. I needed a little bit more than that. But yeah, and we were standing on stage, and he was like, "We've been here before, but I think he got me this time." And I was just like, "Ah, let him find out on his own."
Yeah. No, not this one. You got this one. So
yeah,
Zach,
that's
how did
right.
that feel? Is this like one? How many like a big trail events have you won before like this?
Like a national series, this would be my first.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Um,
And
yeah,
I
but
mean, you beat out Eric here's won a ton of events, so that's I mean that's saying that's awesome feeling too that you got to win one
yeah,
against like one of the most talented kayak anglers out there.
yeah. I think it was a KBF event. Like I think it was in May, right? In LaCrosse, Eric beat me by like a 1/4 inch or something. I was like, man,
You got to get him back on this one.
yeah, I'm glad to get him back on this one. This one means a little bit more.
Yeah, that's
Payback's
awesome.
always nice.
That's a cool feeling, man. So, like going into the check-in, did you think you had this one, or how are you feeling
Uh,
about that?
Everyone was kind of telling me I had it. Um, yeah, I think the only guy I was worried after like overhearing everyone talking and stuff. I thought maybe Eric said he caught one in the last couple minutes or something. I was like, oh great, here we go.
Start spreading rumors or something
I
to
don't
get
know.
you
I don't know
real
if he actually said that or if I'm
stressed.
thinking of someone else, but
I mean,
I
I
was a
did.
little
Yeah, I did catch one. It was just a little.
okay.
It wasn't as big as I needed it to be.
All right. Well, yeah, I wasn't sure. I wasn't very sure at all.
That's awesome. How did it feel at the end when they called you up for first place?
I was like relief.
Yeah.
Like I was excited.
Yeah, I bet, man. That's a cool feeling to take home
Hmm.
a national trail victory,
Yeah.
especially in this field. I mean, you got tons of talented anglers in that field.
Yeah.
A lot of people from all over the country. I think this one may have been. I guess it was kind of a smaller event for the Hobies this season. I think 90 anglers, um, but you're talking tons of quality anglers in that. So that's still a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, I always like more because the people that show up are always the ones you don't want to fish against anyway. So
Yeah.
might
It's like,
as well
it's
do
almost
more
like
and
a
get some.
miniature tournament of champions kind of event. Like
Right.
all the people that are going to show up that for that stuff are the hardcore, serious anglers chasing trails across the country and doing all that. I mean, there was a ton of fish caught. 1,200 fish and 90 anglers. That's like
Yeah.
how many fish per angler is that? Like 12 or something like that? Is
Yeah.
14?
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. And
Dude,
I didn't upload nearly half of mine either. I'm sure a
13
lot
and
of
a
people
half
are the
fish
same.
per angler. That's that's wild. And I was gonna look at see how many people caught limits, um, all the way down to 66th place, so 3/4 of the field or so, 2/3 of the field caught limits both days. It looks like, yeah, 69th place for day 2. So I mean, that's a healthy fishery. It seems like,
Yeah.
tons of fish. I mean, tons of you're looking. I mean, it doesn't look like a ton of huge fish, um, but for that region, a lot of like 16, 17-inch fish.
Yeah, it's a good place. You just want to set the hook and
Mhm.
get your hands tore
Yeah,
up, and yeah, it's a good place to go.
They're a good fight.
I've
They're
heard.
fat. They're healthy there.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
one of the healthiest places that we go. I feel like LaCrosse is really healthy.
yeah. It seems like it. A lot of these pictures are just like almost engorged fish. Hey, look at that. That guy's got a big smallmouth on day 2. Did he have all smallmouth? No, no, just that one. Uh, but yeah, that's cool, man. So, do you guys got any sponsors or anything you want to thank? Um, I know Eric, you probably got a whole list of ones.
Yeah, go ahead,
But
Eric. I'll wait.
All right, I figured I'd just read them off this time. Dakota Lithium, Fishing Online, Torpedo, Yak Power, St. Croix Rods, Buck and Bass, Power Pole, Catch Outdoors, The Bomb Anchors, Yak Attack, Z-Man, Mainstream Outdoors, and Detroit Grooming. That's why my beard looks
how do
like
you fit all that on a jersey or
Yeah.
anything?
it's on there.
Yeah, got them all like jigsaw puzzled in there like
Mhm.
Tetris.
Yeah. I tell you what, those power pole, they sent me 2 power poles this year, and having those dual power poles in the kayak has been huge. Like
Yeah,
it was a big help at Hartwell. We had that win and had some fish on beds and stuff, and it was a
they
huge
keep you
help
from
here.
spinning when you got
Hmm.
both of them down.
They
Yeah.
do, yeah, yeah, better than I thought they would, really.
Huh.
But yeah,
Does it matter how far apart you set them, or
I don't know. I've just got the innovative sportsman mount, and
gotcha?
and use that, and yeah, it works really well.
Does it
You
how does it like lift the back end of your kayak up?
It depends how there's like a setting on like strength. So
Gotcha.
yeah, so I keep it on 2, I think, so it
Okay.
doesn't, because otherwise it'll one side will kind of fight the other if you're not. So I just
Yeah,
like,
yeah. You
yeah,
gotta have them
keep it
balanced and
fairly
all
low.
that too.
Yeah,
Uh, well, that's pretty awesome.
yeah. I
Um,
got a Dakota Lithium's awesome. They pay for our lodging on the road, and don't have to worry about power or anything. I got a 23 amp hour for my fish finder and my lights. I got a 23 for my live scope, and I got a 23 for my power pole. So I don't have to worry
wow.
about running out of
Yeah.
any juice while I'm out there.
What about for your motor setup? What size battery or
Motor is a Torpedo, and I've got 3 of the big ones, the 915 watt, the big
yeah,
batteries,
I can't
and I got 3 of
remember.
those.
Okay.
So I got
Wow.
those all over the place.
Man, you got tons of batteries on that
Yeah,
boat.
yeah. I
Uh,
had 16 rods out there with me that day too during the tournament. So
jeez.
how do you stay
Gotta lose
afloat?
a
yeah,
yeah, I gotta lose a little bit of weight to be able to carry that much stuff.
I probably got 50 pounds of soft plastics. It's basically a bass boat at this point.
Yeah.
It's
You
got
got a trailer for it, or you
yeah, trailer.
okay.
I used to slide it in the back of my truck, and then I got to the point where I had to start carrying Vicodin with me in case I threw my back out. And I was like, "This isn't. I got to get a trailer. Forget this."
Yeah, I mean, when you start getting all that stuff on there,
Yeah, it's not
just
fun,
don't work
especially
that
the
way.
fact that now. I remember
That's
actually AJ helping me lift my kayak at a tournament, and he didn't think it was funny back when I used to slide it in the truck.
yeah.
Yeah,
The only thing that keeps me sliding mine in the truck is that I've started like weightlifting and doing like heavy deadlifts and stuff to try to
mm,
keep my strength up to be able to slide that big ass 14 in the back of my
right.
truck.
Yeah,
The day I
right,
stopped lifting though, this is probably the day I stopped doing that.
right. Yeah,
That thing is too heavy to be doing by yourself.
it's kind of like the motor. Like I used to pedal all the time and didn't have a motor, and pedaling didn't bother me. But now, like I pretty much only pedal when I'm fishing a Hobie event.
Yeah.
The rest of the time, I'm motoring like every chance I get. A lot of times I'll stop and fish, and I'll pedal, but going spot to spot is
Yeah,
more.
you can I mean you can get up and go just a little bit easier with the motor and
Mhm.
cover a lot more water, so it's
We're all getting lazier in old age.
yeah. Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, you're also getting a little bit more efficient too. So,
Yeah,
like you can check
right.
the spots you want to get to, and it doesn't take you as long, and you're not as tired when
True.
you get there. So,
Also helps when there's a boat tournament and you're trying to race to a spot.
yeah, yeah, that's one of the most frustrating things
Yeah,
is trying to beat a boat to a spot. Uh, that's
it's
burned
never
me a few times in the last couple of years where
good.
I'll make a 5 mile run somewhere, and I get there, and in the last like quarter mile of it, a boat just goes zoop
Yep.
right up to it. I'm like, damn,
Yep.
I just worked my tail off to get up here.
Yeah. I had that happen on one of my early tournaments in Gunnersville. Guy cut me off right at the end.
It's frustrating.
Yeah.
Are you gonna fish Gunnersville event coming up, the native event?
I just signed up.
You just
So,
signed up?
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'll see you
I'm
down
gonna
there. I
go.
signed up last
All
night.
right.
Uh,
Cool. Yeah. I love
Hoping
Gunnersville. So,
we can get a couple more. I mean, there's tons of guys that sign up last minute, so be
yeah, I love
included, I guess.
Gunnersville. I'll try to fish any tournament I can there. It's a fun place.
Where we at now? 51 for right now, but I'm hoping that they'll hit 80 to 90 or so. I think there's a lot of Tennessee and local guys that I don't see signed up yet that I've talked to that are gonna try to fish it. So,
Now you're like who?
just a lot of the local club guys. Uh, I don't know if I've talked to like Russ or Riser or any of them about fishing it,
Yeah.
but
It should be a fun event. It'll be a good time.
yeah, that's mainly why. So I haven't fished in a couple weeks since I had my kid, and this will be the first time on the water since then. So I'm
Okay.
just excited to go do that and have fun.
Yeah, I know Jackson Orr's fishing. I don't know if he signed up yet.
Here, I'll check right now. I got it pulled up. Um, Jordan Lee signed up for it. There we go.
All right.
Yeah, I don't see him signed up yet, and it just went up to 52 while I'm sitting here.
Okay. Oh, cool.
They'll start trickling in the next two or 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Zach, how about you, man? Do you got any sponsors or anything you want to thank?
I got one sponsor. It's Mossy Oak.
I mean, it's pretty solid sponsor.
Nice.
Yeah, they've been good to me. Then I definitely have to thank my wife for, well, letting me get away from the house and do all this running around.
Yeah.
And my 4 kids for supporting me and cheering me on. And
did you have them at the? Were they at the weigh-in with you?
No, they weren't. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I got to thank my local league, Miniac Bass Fishing League. They've been very supportive of me, and even at the Bassmaster, they're cheering me on, and the Hobie, they definitely cheering me on there too, and being supportive. Even Bob Baller showed up, and he wasn't even in the tournament.
Yeah, just come to show some support.
Yeah,
that's cool, man. That's cool to have a close knit community like that, and especially with that considered a grassroots club, the Maniac League, or kind of
yeah,
a little higher tier, I guess, but still in that same realm, I guess. It's cool to have that support from those guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, cool, guys. Well, we appreciate you having you on. It's good talking with you guys. You guys got anything else you want to comment on or say while you got the floor here?
I don't know. You could have a second at TOC.
Yeah, I'll take that all day. I've never even been on the lake. I'll take it.
TOC, that's on Chickamauga this year, is that right? In November.
It's gonna be interesting. My lake's gotten a little tougher. It seems like every year.
And then November is
a lot of pressure.
Time to fish Chickamauga. It's gonna very finicky.
Yeah.
Is that like a ledge fishing lake, or is it more?
Certain times of the year, but I don't know about November ledge fishing. I think typically in November, what I see a lot is they've drawn the lake down, and once that drawdown happens, there's a lot of topped out grass everywhere, and grass that's starting to die off. So if you can find some of those spots that still got a little bit of green to it, that's a lot of success doing that. I think that's how Lee Livesey won the Bassmaster event a couple years ago on Chickamauga, and when they had that COVID year where they switched everything to the fall, and it was like mid or late October. I think it was late October.
You might be able
you're looking to do some research. You may go watch that event. See, watch all the coverage from that event. That'll give you a pretty good clue where to start.
Is a 30-pound braid enough, or should I upsize it?
Yeah, go up quite a little bit.
All right.
We don't mess with that 30 here. Well, that's awesome, man. What other events you guys got coming up next?
I got Sam Rayburn I'm gonna do.
Yeah. Are you chasing our AOI for the Hobie this year? Or?
No, this was only my 3rd event, so for Hobie. So I was just happy to qualify for the TOC and get it out of the way. I almost did at Cayuga, and so I'll just there's not a lot to fish left, and I love traveling and fishing. So if there's a tournament on a lake that I want to fish, then I'm gonna go try to fish it. So that's kind of the way I feel about Rayburn. Have you been to Rayburn
before, or is that?
Yeah, I did. I fished Rayburn for a Hobie. I think it was 2 years ago, and it was 10, 20 foot high, something like that. So, that was
nice to get
actually
out there in like normal conditions for
yeah.
a
I
change.
was catching fish off of people's lawnmowers and stuff then, so I was
Jeez.
like, see what it's like in a regular pool, So.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you, Zach? What do you got coming up?
I got a local or a Miniac event this weekend. Then I got their championship at the end of September. Then I got the TOC, and
Nice.
I think that's all I got planned for the year.
Where did they have their championship at?
It'll be on Lake Minnetonka.
Minnetonka. I've never been there. That sounds like a. It seems some
Yeah,
cool stuff about it.
it's busy in the summer. I'm hoping September, by the end of September, it's cold enough where all those pleasure boaters are,
Yeah,
off the
maybe up
lake.
north there it might get cold enough by September to.
I've never
Probably not.
fished it. I remember hearing Chappelle talk about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's Prince skit or what? Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, thanks you guys for coming on. Good luck for the rest of your seasons. Eric, it sounds like I'll see you down here at Gunnersville this coming couple days.
Yep.
And good luck at the TOC. I mean, that's going to be a fun event in November, right? Like mid-November.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I'll see you at KC Barbecue.
All right. Let's do it.
All right.
All right, guys. Well, that'll do it for tonight. I appreciate Zach and Eric coming on. I typically got a wrap up, but usually Jimmy sends that to me, and he didn't send it to me. So we're just gonna not do that tonight. We'll do it. We'll catch it up next week. But that'll do it for this week. Appreciate everybody for listening. Tune in next time. I'm not sure what we'll have coming up next week, but we'll figure something out. Maybe try to get some people from this Gunnersville event, the native event, and get some insight from that.
All right, I'll
If
see
not,
you.
we'll
I'll see you on here next week then.
all right. Go back to back. I think the only person we've had do that so far this year may have been Russ. I think because he won like 2 big events back to back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Him and maybe it seemed like we had Ewing on. It seemed like it was back to back. I can't remember if it was or not.
I'll tell you something funny real quick. My now 8-year-old, a couple years ago, I wear my Dakota Lithium hoodie a lot, right?
Yeah.
So he sees me wearing that thing, and I let him have an Instagram so he could follow me. And he jumps on Russ as he sees him, with his Dakota hoodie on, and he jumps on there and goes, "Copy my dad's shirt, first of all, dummy." I was like, can't do that.
Yeah,
can't do that.
Barking up the wrong tree there.
I had to call Russ and tell him. He was like, he was dying laughing. He was like, that's way funnier now that I know it's your son.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a cool story.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, yeah, don't be wearing repping that Dakota stuff around. Yeah, tell Russ to get that stuff out of here.
Yeah,
right. But I guess all right. Well, hopefully we'll see you next week on the show after the Guttersville event. But with that, that'll do it for tonight. Appreciate you guys tuning in.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for having me as well.
Coming on.